Welcome to the Childcare Genius podcast, proud to be the world's #1 community for brilliant childcare leaders. Each episode will feature interviews with the brightest minds in the childcare industry to guide you into becoming a smarter business leader. Our hosts have opened 10 schools while raising 5 children. They are certified business coaches and are the top-selling childcare business book authors of all time. This episode is sponsored by Elite Childcare Insurance. Give Blake a call at 972-232-2258 to get a free quote on childcare business insurance today. Let's welcome to the Childcare Genius podcast, our hosts, Brian and Carol Dupre.
Welcome to episode 65 of the Childcare Genius podcast.
We're your hosts, Brian and Carol Dupre. We have some exciting news to share. So tickets are now on sale for our Childcare Genius live conference in Las Vegas, April 14th, 15th, and 16th. We announced this for the first time yesterday, and that's 2024. It's going to be the most advanced childcare conference in the world. We're so super excited about that. There's no sales pitches, which people tend to not like at childcare conferences. All of our speakers are Childcare Genius University professors, so there'll be no outside speakers. What else are we doing?
Owners and directors will have different experiences. They'll be in separate rooms and they'll have completely separate content.
Yep. Day 1 and day 2, totally separate owners, advanced content, and directors, advanced content in a separate room. A lot of times owners and directors, the content, one of them bored when they go to a conference together because it's either geared towards one or geared towards the other. So day 3 is going to be expansion in one room and leadership in the other. And it'll be for owners on one side on the expansion. And but an owner, if they're not interested in expansion, could go on the leadership side and do advanced leadership techniques, approaches, how to lead people, how to build a farm team, how to communicate, help with retention. We have some advanced topics that we'll be teaching on that. So expansion boot camp, expansion 201 in one room, leadership boot camp, leadership 201 in the other room. And that's on day 3. What other?
We'll have poolside networking and coaching. We did this in Jamaica and everybody loved it. They loved being able to meet other owners and talking with them and getting ideas and socializing and talking with our coaches.
Yep, we'll be doing that. The Golden Nugget pool, we'll probably do that as well at the Circle pool, which is right across the street, the adults only pool. Carol and I are probably going to staying over there and doing some poolside coaching at the Circle pool for those who want to stay over there. Tickets are on sale right now, $5.99 for owners and $4.99 for directors. That's per ticket, and visit childcaregenius.com right now and you could purchase tickets. And that's at the Golden Nugget, downtown Las Vegas, Nevada. So this month we're doing a series on men in childcare. This is week 1 of a 4-part series.
All guests are men building a childcare business without their spouse or significant other.
And we hope these episodes will encourage more men to get into the amazing field of childcare. So today's guest is Darren Jones. Darren owns Rising Stars Academy in Los Angeles, California.
Mm-hmm.
The interesting part of this story is Darren actually lives in Texas. So he is a remote owner. He's got 5 schools. They're growing like crazy. And he's been able to run these remotely. So today we're going to talk about some of the challenges of building a childcare business remotely, and also as for building it as a guy in a traditional female industry. And I'm excited and looking forward to having you hear this wonderful episode.
Let's get Darren on the line.
Hi, Darren. Welcome to the Childcare Genius podcast. How you doing today?
I'm doing amazing. And yourself?
No,
Very
we're
good.
doing great. We're excited to have you on. We met in Jamaica a little over a month ago and really got to enjoy getting to meet you. And this is Men in Childcare Month. All of our guests this month are men building the childcare business by themselves without the help of a significant other. And there's not too many men who do that. I built it with Carol. Carol did most of the work. I've never done that, but I coach several people who do. And there's unique challenges. And I figured, why not have a Men in Childcare Month to celebrate us? And so we figured we'd have you aboard. So welcome.
Thank you,
Tell us more about your schools and how you got into the childcare business.
So I have five childcare academies in Los Angeles, serving newborn students all the way up to 5th grade. We're in the inner city in Los Angeles, South Bay, Los Angeles. We are actively creating a safe haven for inner city children to be educated. It is a passion of mine. I love the childcare industry. I love early childhood education, period. These children, I'm not going to say they know nothing because they actually know everything, but you're literally molding, little young adults. And I look at all of them as if they're, this is going to be my doctor one day. This will be my attorney one day. This will be, the police officer that, God willing, won't give me a ticket in the future. But, basically molding America, but molding our future. Hopefully molding my future president, as it relates to how I got in the business. I want to be a teacher when I was, since I can remember, when I was a kid. I used to actually build schools out of shoeboxes, and actually put the little students on the sticks and put them in the classrooms. And I used to have my grandmother's living room floor. I used to take cardboard boxes and make them flat, and that was my plot of land. And I would take a cardboard box and build classrooms in schools, and I don't know if you remember the JCPenney's catalog, but I would open JCPenney's catalog and cut the pictures of the rugs out and put them on the floor and everything. So wanted to do that, like I said, since I was a child. And in high school, I was smart enough to look out and say, let me see how much teachers make. And I was like, the salary the teachers were making back then, plus the lifestyle that I wanted, really didn't match up. And then I actually got on my first job. I've been working since I was 14. So on my first job, I was like, well, I really don't want to be told what to do. And then I kind of want my school to run a certain way. Well, at that time, I wanted my classroom to run a certain way. And the district just was not going to allow it. I knew that back then. Like, the district isn't going to allow it. This doesn't make sense to the district. So the alternative, once I graduated high school, was like, just open up your own. I mean, how hard can this be? And as simple as that thought was as simple and easy as it was for me to open my first one. I'd tell anybody that wants to open one, don't make the issue any harder than it actually is. Just go out there and do it. I actually jumped out there and did it. And here I am 5 centers later. And hopefully by the time we talk again, hopefully there'll be 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 added on by that time.
Love that.
That's awesome.
Now, the most unique part about this is tell everybody in the audience where you live. Your schools are in Los Angeles, California. Where do you live?
My schools are in Los Angeles, California. I reside in Houston, Texas.
In Texas. So you're a remote owner. You run your centers. Not involved in the day-to-day operations. You're not right there. And how long since the beginning, or did you move away halfway through?
To be quite honest, I go back and forth. So if I'm going to open up, the last 2 centers, I haven't had to go back and open them up. I have a team that has assisted, that's been with me long enough. They know how to open up the locations. But I literally, back at the beginning, I would fly to LA, have a building, stay there the whole entire, probably like the first year. And then I would ease myself out of it. And then by the time I got to center, the third one, I didn't have to do much of anything. I mean, I didn't even show up for the licensing inspection. I had a team of directors that I trained hands-on that were right by my side on the first 2. And we've just duplicated it. Unfortunately, with this whole economy situation that we have right now with hiring staff, that's what's kind of paused because, of course, I need to overstaff in order to do that, to multiply it again. So, but yeah, it's been a joy. It's been a joy. I've enjoyed every step, every single moment of it.
What has been the biggest challenge building the business as a man in a traditional female business?
If I could be quite honest, I would say people on the other side of the fence had more challenges in their minds than I ever thought. I've always been a no is not an option type of individual, right? I mean, I've heard probably every excuse under the sun when I even mentioned I wanted to go into childcare. I remember my grandparents telling me, no man should be owning a childcare center. You know, that's for children are there, and so. And I, just so you guys know, I've always gone against the grain in everything that I've ever done. You know, I'm 6'5", 6'5". So everybody thought I should play basketball when I was in school. I could not stand basketball. I was more so on the computer techie side. So I went against the grain with that. Everybody thought that I should do certain things when it came to schooling. I went completely against the grain with that. So the fact that everybody was against me actually doing it made me want to do it even more. So I would say, I would honestly probably say self-doubt and kind of listening to those individuals saying things. I was gung-ho originally. And then when I would hear it, I would start thinking about it, maybe they're right. Maybe I shouldn't do this. But I never let it stick in my head. I just went ahead and did it anyway. And I'm so glad that I did, because it's turned out to be everything I imagined originally and much, much more. Much more. So the challenge of being a male, if I'm being quite honest, I had none, if I'm being quite honest. I've been embraced by the females in the industry. And if I can be quite honest, they actually admire me being a male in the industry, both parent and staff alike. I honestly feel like I get more, and the female owners have said this to me, I get more respect from the staff and the parents being a male childcare owner than the females do.
A lot of them do, because especially a lot of single moms out there that put their child in, they love having a male influence in the childcare centers and seeing. So I love hearing that. Absolutely.
And it was kind of shocking originally, because of course you hear, the naysayers, the parents aren't going to want to drop their children off there because you're a male and so on and so forth. I have, being completely honest, in my 15 years of business, I have never had a parent where that I've been aware of that hasn't enrolled their child. Typically, the parents, when they call, I sell them over the phone, to enroll in my program. Typically, when they show up, they don't even want a tour. They just want to sign up based off what our conversation was. I've literally had to force parents to take the tour. They're like, no, we just want to sign up. If you're the owner, we just want to sign up. And I'm like, well, I appreciate that, but let's go ahead and, take a tour since your child is going to be here. So I think you kind of just know, when you talk to certain people, you just know, right? And I feel like I'm one of those individuals, once you talk to them, you just know. So I feel like my personality has done it. I'm a man of my word. So anything that I say I'm going to do, I have a track record of doing. Everybody knows my number one thing, and I never want anybody to be able to do, is say that I said I was going to do something, I didn't do it. So I'm a man of my word. The parents have recognized that. My staff recognizes that. I enjoy it. They can tell I actually enjoy the industry. I enjoy the children. I enjoy the staff. I would say the thing I really enjoy is knowing that these parents feel safe to leave their children in my care, and they can go to work and not go to work to worry. Mm-hmm. So I think out of everything, I get that's like a different kind of high that I don't think many people really think about.
Love that. Yeah. So do you have any advice, Darren, for a man considering working in or maybe even own a childcare business?
Do it. Go for it. That is like, do it. And I say do it and don't second guess it. Just do it, because once you're in it, it's like, I got into it when I was 23. Ooh, yeah, I think I was 23. If I could have done it when I was 18, had I had the means, I probably would have came straight out of high school and went straight into it. So my advice would be to do it. Don't second guess yourself. Just go out there and do it. If you want to do it, do it. Like you will be. I think that feeling, once they start doing it, that feeling they're going to get from the staff, that warm feeling they're going to get from the parents and the students. My students love me. My teachers hate for me to come in their classroom when they're in the middle of lesson. They hate it. Because as soon as I walk in the classroom, all eyes are on me, all attention's on me.
Yeah.
The kids want to show Mr. Darren everything that's going on. So that's probably the highlight of me being on campus. The fact that I typically have to, if I'm trying to get work done, I do it off campus, because once I'm on campus, the children are like, Mr. Darren, Mr. Darren, Mr. Darren, Mr. Darren, Mr. Darren. So once I feel like being a male, once they get that feeling like for themselves, it's the complete opposite of what most people think a male would get on especially in childcare. You know, it's one thing to be in elementary, you know, junior high or high school, but in childcare with the little ones, men, when they get on campus, that feeling is I can't even explain it. It's something that they're going to be like, okay, I'm meant to be here, especially if they have the passion for it. If they have that, that's the other thing. They have to have the passion. I tell anybody, male or female, do not go into this industry if you don't have the passion. Any male that has the passion, the money's going to come regardless. If you have the passion for it, the money is definitely going to flow because you have that passion for it.
Agreed, 100%.
Yes.
Passion before education. You know, you could be educated, have degrees, doesn't mean you love kids or enjoy teaching kids. You got to have that passion. I'm with you 100%.
Yes.
Absolutely. Once you have the passion, everything else will flow.
Yep.
And literally everything else will flow. And I say that because I'd never worked at a child care center. I never worked with children, if I'm being completely honest, when I opened up my first site. So it was literally me opening up a location based off the passion. And I had my trial and error and made my business mistakes and so on and so forth. But I feel like having that passion is what literally got me through, because there was no was not an option. I loved what I did. When I first opened up the first location, we opened at 6 a.m. I was there every morning at 5 a.m. I was cooking the breakfast, making sure the facility was open and airy, and making sure I made the parents their coffee I used to literally make the parents coffee, like each cup, when they came in, to get that whole personable situation. The kids love being there, soothing them when they come in and they're crying, and to know that it's like 10 minutes later, like, okay, we're here with Mr. Darren, we're having a good time. Them running off from their parents when it came time to pick up and leave, because they wanted to stay, in my care. Those kind of things made everything else easier.
Definitely.
Yes.
If you don't mind sharing, what's a business goal you've set for 2024?
If I don't mind sharing. Okay, so there's one that I'm not going to share. We'll talk about that at another time. But 2024 would be to get all of the sites to 115% capacity. And the reason I say 115%, as you guys know, we never have 100% attendance every day. There's always children out, children on vacation, children sick. So I want to get us to 115% capacity. And then I also want to become overstaffed. I would love to be overstaffed, where we literally have teachers that can literally walk around and be like, I have nothing to do.
Yeah, I love how you said that, because we've taught this for years of overselling your location. And 10% is a good number. I like how you shoot for 15%, because you know what your vacancy rate is. You know that there's going to be 15% of your kids out every single day, statistically speaking. So you'll still be within numbers. You have to have the ability to shift kids between classrooms to be able to do that. But it's a very profitable center where you could take your license capacity and actually make more than your license capacity and revenue. So it's a very good model, especially if you live in an area, probably the inner city. You got a lot of kids that are going to be out, parents are home, probably have a lot of subsidized parents. They tend to stay home more with their children. So yeah, why not oversell? It's perfectly legal to do, as long as you're not over ratios in your school. It's an interesting concept. I love it.
And it also helps when you're trying to expand, because typically I go to, the 115% at a location. And then when I expand, typically it's closer to a lot of my family's homes, wherever the new location is. So I don't mind transferring 15% of those children to the new center. 15% from one center, 15% from another center. So now this new center starts off with 30%, and my other locations are still at 100%.
Yeah, great way to dominate a market too. So I love that approach. You sound like you've been reading my books and following me for a long time. That's all the stuff I teach. So good job.
Well, I was trying to meet you for years anyway, because I'm like, okay, this is a man. Anytime I would hear you talk on the stage, I'm like, yeah, one day I'm going to meet this man, because we spoke the same language. And I'm like, yeah, one day I'm going to meet this man. And per usual, anything that I throw out there is going to happen.
Yep. Way to go. So let's humble ourselves here. What would you say one of your biggest mistakes you've made so far in the childcare business?
This was one question that my assistant and I'm not a perfect person by any means of the word, right? I have to say this. I've never looked at myself as making a mistake. I've always looked at I've made a choice to learn by going an opposite direction of what I probably should have done. One thing that if I would categorize this as a mistake, one thing that I feel like was a mistake is not purchasing as much commercial childcare real estate as I possibly could have from the get-go. That would probably be one of my mistakes. And the reason I say that is, had I been in the mindset, I would say I got into the purchase mindset year 4 of me going into childcare. And I purchased my first one, the building. And you get acclimated to that because, of course, that's a scary thing, right? So I thought back then that was a scary thing. That was $1 million building. I felt confident in my business. I felt confident in my journey. But when you buy $1 million building for the first time, you kind of get, for whatever reason in your head, you want to get a little settled, right? You want to get acclimated to this mortgage payment, even though the mortgage payment was cheaper than what I was paying in rent. I don't know what that was about when I look back at it. I'm like, hey, the rent was $6,000, but your mortgage payment was $4,700. What were you scared for? Looking back at it. So the reason I would say that was a mistake is because what real estate cost back then versus what real estate costs now. I mean, I literally told my assistant I should have picked up every childcare business that I came across, and there were plenty. I should have picked them up and, if not, turn around and rented them out on 5-year leases or 10-year leases, because today, like I just told you guys, I want to expand to 5 more. Well, it would have been easy because my tenant's lease would have been up, and then I could have just went to my own building and, had a $3,000-$4,000 mortgage and started a whole nother business. But I would say that's probably one of my mistakes.
Yeah, I made that same mistake too, not buying commercial real estate early. So yeah, it's a learning experience. You learn as you go. And thankfully, we rectified that and got a whole bunch of property before the market went crazy. So we gained 7 figures of equity thanks to appreciation. So ride the next market. So hopefully somebody who's listening is learning from that. Like, owning real estate is a good component to childcare. Because eventually you could sell the childcare business. You could just hold on to that real estate forever.
Yes. And I'll say this. And I tell people, just go, right? Go. Don't be scared. Take the scared out of everything. I've learned not to be scared to the tune of, I literally purchased 5 properties this year alone. And it was easy for me. It was the bank just called me last week and said, you have 1 more in your portfolio. You can go ahead and get it out, get it out by the end of the year. Back then when I was first starting, it was like, okay, let me buy this one, maybe in the next 2-3 years, maybe 4 or 5 years, I can get another one. Now I look how I operate today, and it's like, I just met my CPA the other day, and she's like, Darren, you purchased 5 properties this year. What are you doing? I'm like, hey, it's go time. If I can afford it, I can pick it up. Let's get it. So had I been in that mindset back then, because I could afford it back then, I just didn't do it. It was that scared situation. What's the saying? Scared money doesn't make money. That's a true statement. It's a true statement. I've not been scared back then, I'd have made a lot of money.
Yep. Yeah. I made the same learning experiences. Sometimes you win, sometimes you learn. I made mistakes and I learned from them.
So that's why I say, then was it a mistake or was it a learning experience? Because now, what I didn't do then, I do now.
Yeah.
Tenfold. I mean, you have people that are just on their first property. I'm at the age that I am now, and I've just purchased 5, and this hasn't been a full year yet. The year isn't even over. So that would be a mistake. If I could give anybody, and I always tell everybody, learn from my mistakes. Like, if you see the property, you can afford the property, buy the property, be done with it. Don't even overthink it.
That's right. Yeah, especially now when you got extra tax advantages for doing so, for sure. So,
yes.
Awesome.
So you attended our leverage conference in Jamaica. That's where we met you last month. And what did you like best about the conference?
If I'm being honest, I like the fact you guys had it in Jamaica. Let's start there. I enjoyed that it was international. And the reason I say that is because once you guys went international, and I don't know if this was the reason that you guys did this, But once you went international, you kind of separated. There were two different types of business people. You had the individuals that had their passport and they go out of the country to get away, and the conversation's a lot different. And going out of the country, meeting these other multi-site owners or individuals that just had one site but wanted to expand, the conversation was completely different. The conversation was professional. Nobody minded sharing information. Nobody minded sharing contacts. Nobody was snobbish. Nobody thought they were too good. You literally didn't know if somebody had 1 center or 10 centers. You didn't know. Like everybody was, we were all on the same level. We were all on the same page when everybody got there. Nobody minded sharing. Matter of fact, I got a contact with a young lady I met on the bus going on our Sunset cruise. And she was like, hey, you said you want to pick up another center. I heard you say you want to pick up another center. Here's my sister's number in Houston. She wants to sell her. So, call her when you get back to Houston. There were so many connections being made there. I met the gentleman with the insurance, with the childcare insurance. I actually have a call with him later on today. The CPAs, it was so much in so little time. I love the way that you guys had the schedule planned out where, we learned a great deal of information, yet we still got to enjoy the latter part of our day at that amazing resort. We were able to get in the pool with you guys actually and, pick your brain and ask you guys questions that pertain to you guys' business and the other business owners. It was a full circle moment for me. To be able to get up. And I'm going to be quite honest with you. When I go to these other conferences, they start at 8 o'clock in the morning. I don't come down until 10, 11 o'clock because I don't feel like I'm missing anything. I mean, I go in, it's like, oh, this is what you're talking about? All right, I'm getting ready to leave and go shopping. It's nothing here for me. Versus you guys' conference, I was there, attentive, coffee in hand. What are we talking about today? I'm taking notes. Right. Matter of fact, I even came up to you and I'm like, are we getting these slides after? Because I need to put this stuff in place. It was everything. I really, really enjoyed the entire experience. We learned a lot. With me having 5 centers, I'm constantly learning. We learned a lot. The speakers that you had, very informative. Everything was amazing. Everything was amazing. There's nothing that I would have. You go somewhere, you pay for a conference and you kind of critique it at the end. There was nothing I would have changed.
Really appreciate that, Darren, really a lot, because when you put your first one on, you put your heart into it, you hope you delivered. And reading all the surveys, I think we really delivered good. We can't wait to have you next year. We're going to do it again next year. More details will be coming, and hopefully we have twice the people, twice the fun, and twice the knowledge and experience.
You guys over-delivered.
Appreciate that.
You guys over-delivered. I mean, it was a vibe from even the first meet and greet the first night. It was very welcoming. People you didn't know. I mean, there was nothing that I would change, if I'm being completely honest. Your schedule was on point. That was the thing, and I'm going to tell you this because everybody talked about it. The schedule was on point. Everybody loved the schedule. It wasn't like one of those boring conferences where you're in a conference room for 8, 9, 10 hours a day, and you're supposed to be. This is a work trip, but I mean, you're in Jamaica. We want to enjoy this beautiful resort that we're on as well. So the balance of time was amazing. The dinners were amazing. The poolside coaching was amazing. Everything was amazing. It was a good time. And I'm a high standard traveler, right? I love to travel first class in everything that I do. That was a first class conferencing experience for sure.
Thanks, buddy. So where's your happy place? That's our mindset question for you. Where's your escape?
My happy place is right here in Houston, Texas, in my bed. That is my happy place.
You're a sleeper, huh?
I love to sleep. I love to sleep. I love it. And the reason being, I'm a workaholic. I love to work. I love it, especially when I'm creating. As the owner, what I say goes. So it's one of those things where when you put this program in place and then, you formulate this program, then you put it in place. And now it's working out all the kinks. So I get off on that kind of thing. So I'm up, 5, 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, and I don't go to bed before 1 o'clock every morning. I'm usually 1 o'clock is early for me. So I'm doing that day in, day out, day in, day out. And then, of course, I attempt to have a personal life on the weekends. And then with me traveling back and forth between Los Angeles and Houston, and then also my personal travel, then my business travel for my other entities, I'm probably on a plane 8-9 times a month minimum. So when I can just crash, oh, I love it. I love to just lay there in a cold room, dark. That is my happy place. Under the covers with a TV volume on 3 or 4 and just in and out of sleep all day. That is my happy place. I'm at my happiest right there. And it costs me nothing, by the way.
True. That's even better, right?
I'm not spending any money.
Well, this has been very helpful. Congratulations on all your success, Darren. You're an amazing owner. And it was great getting to know you in Jamaica. Can't wait to get to know you even more at our next conference, and we'll hang out. And I'm always here for you to help you out in any way.
Yes, I'm looking forward to it. I'm praying for you guys. I definitely, I know your conference is going to get even bigger. It's going to be one of the, if not the biggest conference out there. If you guys continue doing what you guys did this last one, it's going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing. Bigger than you guys even thinking. How about that? You guys are going to stand on that stage one day and be like, yeah, it's going to cross. Watch this. You're going to stand on that stage one day and you're going to say, damn, Darren said this.
Well, thanks so much for taking your time to speak to everybody on the Child Care Genius podcast today.
No problem at all. Anytime. Thank you guys for having me. It's greatly appreciated.
All right. Have a good day.
You as well.
Wow, that was a great interview. He has a dynamic personality.
I just love this guy. And, we had dinner with him when we were in Jamaica. Him and a few other people, and my CPA was there. And he is just so knowledgeable, and he's such a nice guy, and very, very great speaker. So I might have him get up on one stage someday and teach a topic for sure, because he definitely knows his stuff. And maybe I'll have him come up and speak on how to be a remote owner. That'd be a good topic for you. So Darren, if you're listening to this, start getting your seminar ready. I'm probably going to have you teach on my stage on how to be a remote owner, a 15-minute talk. Definitely either a leverage conference or in fall or my April conference. So get it ready. So if you need help in your childcare business, like a free coaching call with me, if you're a center owner, or you're considering purchasing a center or starting one, I'd like to do a call with you. It'd be free. I'm going to give you some ideas to help you out and get you going. Just go to childcaregenius.com, select on the coaching tab, and select the free coaching call button. And you're guaranteed to come away with a couple different action item ideas to help in areas that you could be struggling in. So this concludes episode 65 of the Child Care Genius podcast. Thank you so much for listening. We really appreciate you spending time with us.
And just a reminder to hit the subscribe button so you won't miss a future episode of the Child Care Genius podcast. See you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Child Care Genius podcast. If you enjoyed the show, please do us a favor and hit the subscribe button so you don't miss a future episode. Don't forget to visit our website at childcaregenius.com to see a list of services we offer to help grow your childcare business. Until next time, thank you for being a part of the Childcare Genius community.